Did you know that Jesus actually was not white? He was born a Jew and lived in the Middle East. Last night I did a Bible study about the historically accurate Jesus Christ, and I found a lot of really interesting things that I want to share. I think because he is the Son of God, we tend to look over his humanness, but he was just as human as you and I. My first point is that he probably wasn't the well-grown man that we see in all the paintings of Jesus. Luke chapter 4 verses 1 and 2 talks about how Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness being tempted by the devil and ate nothing during those times. Also, cars did not exist during this time, so Jesus walked everywhere, which can be seen in Luke chapter 24 verses 13 through 33, where they were walking 7 miles. And on this note, showers did not exist back then, and the cultural norm at the time was not to take a bath every single day. So he probably did not look like how we imagine him. He was likely poor because Luke chapter 2 verses 22 through 24 talks about when the time came for their purification according to the law of Moses, they brought Jesus up to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord and offered a sacrifice of what was said in the law of the Lord of a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. And the reason why this is important is because in Leviticus chapter 5 verse 7 it says, "If he is unable to afford a lamb, then he shall bring 2 young pigeons or turtle doves for the Lord." We know Jesus as the Son of God, but put yourself in the shoes of the people who lived back then. He was seen as crazy. For us Christians, communion is a very normal experience, but when you put yourself in the shoes of people back then, this man was basically telling people to partake in cannibalism, which is like so crazy. So John chapter 6 verses 48 through 66 says, "How can this man give us his flesh to eat?" Then Jesus said to them, "Unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, then you have no life in you." And after this, many of his disciples turned back and no longer walked with him. Mark chapter 3 verses 13 through 21 shows that even his family thought he was a little bit off his rocker. It says, "He went up to the mountain and appointed the 12 disciples, and when his family heard, they went out to quiet him because they said he was out of his mind." John chapter 7 verses 14 through 20 says, "About the middle of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and began teaching, and the crowd answered, 'You have a demon.'" And then John chapter 10 verses 31 through 33, "The Jews picked up stones to stone him, so Jesus said, 'I've shown you so many good things from the Father, and you're going to stone me?' And the Jews answered, 'We're not stoning you for the good works that you've done, but for blasphemy, because you claim to be God, but you're just a man.'" And ultimately, that was the reason why he was crucified, because he was claiming this huge claim of being the Son of God when he was just a man. But the thing is, he was both. He was fully God and fully human. And studying this made me realize how much grace I need to have for the people throughout the Bible who didn't believe in Jesus, because I was raised in a Christian environment from birth to now, being told that Jesus is the Son of God and seeing the aftermath of him rising from the dead after being crucified. And I think a lot of Christians, myself included, are very judgmental when we read the Bible and look at, this person met Jesus face to face and they still didn't believe in him. Like, how dumb are they? But we have to put ourselves in their shoes to understand historical context and have more grace for people, because if that was us, would we accept Jesus? Because we didn't know that he would raise from the dead already, Anywho, I watercolored what I thought might be a little bit more of what Jesus looks like, but ultimately none of us know. But this whole book is my Bible study book where I do watercolors and Bible studies, so if y'all want to do any more Bible talks with Rhiannon, let me know.